And a special welcome to SPB for being so kind enough to accept our invitation, be with us today despite his grueling schedule. These days, I believe he's an ambassador for the Swachh Bharat scheme in parts of Andhra Pradesh. He spends a lot of time there. And tomorrow early morning he has to leave for Dubai. And despite that, he has accepted our invitation. And the only one reason I can think of is because it is about MSV. MSV's association with Balu or Balu's association with MSV runs for many, many years. And on one occasion when MSV was at my residence, he was talking about the various musicians and vocalists he has directed, and his description of SPB was that SPB is like a blotting paper. He completely absorbs everything that I have to give. There's nothing. So normally he doesn't say that of many, many singers. So this evening we are going to be spending the next 1 hour or so taking the example of an individual who came with very humble beginnings and strode as a colossus in the field of film music for over 3 decades. Generally, MMA talks about leadership, stars in manufacturing, business, trade, and commerce. So today, entertainment in its own right is a big industry. We all know that. And its thought struck me as that why is it that we should always talk about leadership role models only from manufacturing and trade industry? Why not we look at the entertainment industry and look for role models there too? There are so many management insights we can gain from them. And because my personal affinity towards music, I love music, and particularly film music, particularly music of MSV. I said, look, why not we take him as the case study today and present to you how he became a leader, how he sustained the leadership over 3 decades. It's not easy today for anyone to sustain a business as a leader for 30 years or more. It's very tough. I mean, he did it with aplomb. He never, programmed for it. It just came naturally to him that, look, I keep performing. As I keep performing, I stand out as a leader. That's how his life was. So, I thought why not use his example and take you through, it's a management case study. We are not going to play many music songs today, but we are going to give some specific examples. When I narrate a point, I want to illustrate it with song bits, maybe the first 1 line, 1.5 minutes, just to show that, look, how appropriate it is. A lot of it, SPB also will be involved in this. The format that he preferred was that after I finish, he will collect all that I have said, plus all that he has to say about this, about MSV. And he will give his view as presentation of what his experience was in working with MSV and how he considered him as a leader. With that, we start. Now, the topic, as you see, is leadership in creative business. Now, any business needs a definition. Yeah, before that, there's no video here, right? No. Creative business, by definition, it is the business of creating and delivering music for films. That is the business he was in. It is a very tangible product, like any other product. And it has intellectual property rights, it has IP rights as well. It is creative because it is custom made every time. You can't imagine a product in a business where every product, nothing can be replicated. You can't repeat even one line of that. Every product has to be different for every occasion, for every sequence, for every situation. So therefore, it truly belongs to the area of creativity. It's a business. Why? Because its constituencies are across the board, same like any other business. You have a stakeholder who is the producer. You have a customer, B2B, who is the producer as well as the distributors, because they finance the project. And you have, of course, the B2C, the general public, without whose support and validation, success can never be yours. Collaborators. In every business you find you have to collaborate. You have either to collaborate with the vendors, collaborate with the technologies. Here, new collaborators are the directors, the lyricist, and the sound recordist. All these three people have to play their role effectively in order that the music song that is produced as a product is outstanding. And while, in a creative business, you have one side of it is creativity. You have to create something new. Other side is execution. And you often find that some people are excellent in ideas, but when it comes to execution, they fall short. How many occasions we have seen in business where an excellent idea has not succeeded because of poor execution, and sometimes a not so great idea has succeeded remarkably because of excellent execution. In MSP's case, it is as you always used to say that, look, he believes in absolute standards, not relative standards. It is not enough if you are 1% above somebody. You have to meet 10 out of 10. So his creative part, he had to excel, and his execution team, he had to excel. Therefore, his execution team was as important as the creating team. So the singers, like SPB, the members of the orchestra, were as an integral part of the whole production as the creativity part of it. And the music director, just as in any business, somebody has to own the accountability ultimately. The buck stops where? As far as the music is concerned, the buck stops with the music director. His complete ownership and accountability to the producer who has put in the money. So these are exactly very similar thing in any business that you see. And let us look at his background, how he emerged in the early 50s and what was the situation then. At that time, there was a subtle change coming from production houses which had their own music team, like the Geminis and like the modern theatres. They had own musicians, music team. They are now moving to outsourcing, where they could go to other talents and get better results. We all know in business where we often move out from captive production to outsourcing. The situation was not very different then. And there was a shift in the emphasis, because before that it was all more historical and monarchy-related themes. Now the emphasis was on social themes, and then there was a customer shift from pure classical music combinations to a different genre, including classical, folk, and western. And the films were focused on the younger generation with exposure to western influences. So he was emerging at a time there was a shift in the audience expectations, the producer's expectations. The market was changing. And what are the challenges he faced? He had to evolve on a continuous basis, because the situation was not something which was set for him. He entered a situation which was changing. So he had to make sure that he fits in with the change and evolve on a continuous basis. He had to find that new combinations of melody and rhythm to fit three things: the storyline, the sequence of the song, where it is placed, and the lyrics. All the melody and the rhythm have to fit in and merge seamlessly into that. And he had to manage technology with the introduction of new electronic instruments. And since he hadn't had the background to learn music even formally, other than what he learned from Neelamanda Bhagavathar, and he was not tuned into Western instruments as to how to play them, except in the piano. He had to manage the technology, because the keyboards and other guitars were all emerging at that time, and use of Congo drums and what kind of. And what is his response to these changes? First thing is the team size of the orchestra, which was earlier, I think, I'm not sure about the numbers, but certainly not very large. He increased the size for better effects. You could see some songs with over 7,500 people in the orchestra team, because that was giving a much better effect. You see here, this photograph, all these principal players, and SPB was remarking that this is what he is missing today. So, increasing the size of the orchestra for better effects was one thing he did. Next one was, he gave a lot more importance to rhythm and rhythmic combinations than the previous era. I always say that there is music, film music before MSP, there is film music after MSP. Therefore, what he did was transformational. He did not change. He transformed to the new taste. Also, he did not believe in saying that, look, okay, if the public taste is this, let me make a music for that. He believed that, look, this is the right music for the public. And the public lapped it up. That is very difficult to do it because you can't really say what will the public like, what will they not like. But he believed that, look, this public will like this. And he produced, and therefore I consider him greater because he influenced the taste of the public. He brought about a change in what to expect from film music. And rhythmic innovations, I have one audio bit where he begins a song with a rhythmic innovation, with the drums and bongos. And you see the electrifying effect it has on the beginning of the song. Over to you. See the effect of how the song begins. As recently as last week, not last week, 1 year ago, when MSV attended one of those super singer programs, Unnikishan was there. He asked MSV, look, somebody sang the song, and he asked MSV, how did you ever think of this kind of a rhythmic combination to start a song like that? And who played the bongo drums for that? The first one MSV couldn't answer, as always. And he could never, explain why or how he did what he did. But he said, look, the person who played the bongos is Gopalakrishnan. That's all he could remember. So the rhythmic combination that he introduced, you can see in many songs where there is a mixture of Tishram and Chadushram combining and different instruments being played and combining a tolak and a bongos. If you see Padwar Padinal with piano, with a tabla tarang and a bongo and a drums. Nobody would have thought of combining these three in a song like this, but we don't have that audio today because I wasn't sure we'll have the time for all that. So the rhythmic innovations made youngsters very keenly watching his songs because they liked it. It triggered some kind of a spirit amongst them and they looked forward to it. And another convention before he came on the scene was that the lyrics would be written and the tune will be, and the tune will be set to the lyrics. That was the convention followed earlier. And he believed that, look, no, this time has come to change that. There are situations where I have, for the context, for the situation the director is playing, I feel that this tune will be very appropriate and the lyrics can fit into that. It's a very bold attempt to do that because you have to tell a person like Annadasan to say, look, this is the Santan and you better make lyrics for that. In that I have one clipping which that is Shyam Joseph. He's a regular player, he's a music director, he's composed music for more than 300 Malayalam films. So even in the films, that was introduced as someone giving the tune first and the lyrics later. That was the film K. Balachandra with Kamal Hassan and Sri Devi with SPB and Janaki. Can we have that bit? to start with.
கவிதை பாட நேரம் இல்லடி ராஜாத்தி சிப்பி இருக்குது முத்தும் இருக்குது திறந்து பார்க்க நேரம் இல்லடி ராஜாத்தி சிந்தை இருக்குது சந்தம் இருக்குது கவிதை பாட நேரம் இல்லடி ராஜாத்தி எப்படி சங்கங்கள் நீயனா சங்கீதம் நானாவே சங்கங்கள் நீயானால் சங்கீதம் நானாவே சிப்பி இருக்குது முத்தும் இருக்குது திறந்து பார்க்க நேரம் இல்லை ராஜாத்தே சிந்தை இருக்குது சந்தம் இருக்குது கவிதை பாட நேரம்.
That was it. It was actually demonstrated. And during his time, he complemented the super icons Shivaji and MGR. Their imprint on Tamil films was very, very strong. A lot of thematic compositions which reflected the social and political environment at that time. And a lot of people used to say that, look, okay, all Shivaji films, MSV music, all MGR films, MSV music, means his hit is almost partial to them. He was never, but it so happened that the themes, their acting, everything merged very well with them. So it could produce a lot of super hit songs during that time. And in fact, in the one, well, I'll come to that later. Okay. The other thing, innovation he introduced was, film music was always known to be in the background. Nobody ever saw the artist, nobody ever saw the orchestra. They just heard the record. He was the one to introduce public concert with orchestra. He took the music live to the audience. He took the music live to the audience. And look at his marketing genius. If you ever want to have connectivity with your B2C customer, end user, you have to go to him directly. No point in going through a cable or a disc. So he went straight to the hearts of the people there. The person who listened to the songs completely went bowled over. He came to Bombay in they came to Bombay in 63 where Bharati Kalamandalam, when TMS, Sushila all came, and the whole Bombay was swept. Naushad, they were all there in the music, and then Naushad even stood up and asked for a remake and re-singing the song. Such a hit. Then, along with SPB, he came again in 73 or 74 to Bombay, Chembur and all that. Again, it was a super hit. Because the connectivity was super. And there are instances where he himself has narrated when he said once he got a chit from a guy. He looked at that guy. That boy is about 18 years old. And he looked at the song and he said, look, is this chit given by you or somebody else has asked you to give this chit? He said, no, it's my chit. I want this song sung. He said, do you know how old this song is? This song is 32 years old. You are 18 years old, you are asking for a song which is 32 years old. That boy wanted to listen to Ninaipadellam Nadandu Vittale Nenjilora. That was the connectivity he had. And another instance, very touching instance, he mentioned once, that in one of those concerts, a young widow came and gave a chit for a song. And he got a little, was a little troubled. He said, look, this song is a love duet, and here's this lady wanting me to play that song. He did play the song, because I believe that lady said that this song, when we were married, my husband and I used to listen to the song every night before going to bed. And he died young. So the memory of this song is so strong in my mind. That is a kind of a penetration he had. And he said a lot of fuss, I would say, trend. First time there was a public ranking of songs, public survey of ranking songs. When Pavamanipur film came, I don't know which magazine it was, I think it was Ananda Vigaran, I'm not sure. They asked public, because the songs were super hit songs. They wanted to know which song public ranked first, which song they ranked second, third. So survey done, the survey was published. And surprisingly, they were surprised. Some people thought Attan will be #1 song. It was not #1 song. The first song was Leadershiip But that seemed to have touched the chords of the people more than the other song. Not that other songs were any less, they were outstanding. And even in that song of Attan, P. Sushila recently, let out a secret. One of the MSP Times programs, she said, one day she had come for the recording for the song, her voice was not good. And she felt that, look, I'm not fit today for recording. So she said, look, no, sing the few lines. She sang a few lines. I said, no, for today's song, your voice is enough. And that song was Attan. Because there was not too much of higher octave singing. So, he knew exactly what he wanted from his artist. Then music to boost the fortunes of the film. This is another incident narrated by A.V.M. Sharavana. See, A.V.M. produced a movie in the early 60s called Veera Thirumagan, of all tier 2 stars, not the tier 1 stars, not the big heroes, the big heroines. And as you know, those days there would be a poster of the film release on all the walls, and A.V.M. being a big banner. And it so happened after the first week they could realize that the film was getting nowhere. But then in the 1 week's time, the songs had become a super hit. So, he said, what did we do? Next week the posters were Roja Malari Rajakumari. The film derived its success, or whatever success it had, from this song. He said, look, this song is a better advertisement for the film than the name of the film. What other validation can you expect than this? And other thing was that those days I was told, and SPB can correct me, no one had ever attempted 100+ orchestra for any songs before him.
Yes, certainly.
Okay. And when he did Pudhiya Paravai song, then later on he did Vishakaran also, without any help from technology. I don't even know whether the hall size was good enough to accommodate all of them. The story was that some people used to sit outside, yet record this. Imagine, and with people of 100+, if one person makes one mistake, the whole thing had to be redone. There was no facility of cut and paste as it is today. So he had to manage an execution team with such a huge orchestra, and I'm sure the song also won't be simple as that. There will be tunes, the bits will be very, very complicated, requiring a lot of attention, but he did that. Similarly, when occasion needed, he could do with 3 people, as he did for Bahar Parivane. So he knew exactly that, look, if you want me to make a big band show, I can do it. If you want to make a very simple folk tune, I can do it. Absolutely at ease. He could navigate from one end of the spectrum to the other. His core team was outstanding, because I have been to some of his recordings. Some of these people that you see here, Shyam Joseph is of course there, Nanchaka Reddy on the flute, Raju on the mandolin, Noel on the drums, I think that is Anumant Rao and this thing. I don't find Gopalakrishnan in this, but is there? I don't know, maybe he's there.
No, I didn't see him.
Yeah. Mangalamurthy is there. So his core team was outstanding. Each one was an expert. Here, that's where I want to bring in a thesis here that MSV was a great manager of team, because each one of them was outstanding. It is like a CEO of a company having the best marketing talent, having the best finance talent, having the best R&D talent, having the best operations talent, and having to manage them, their egos, their expectations, their deliverables. How do you get all of them together to work towards one objective, that we want to produce a song which is a winner? Just as we do in business to produce a product as a winner consistently. To to manage a core team of outstanding professionals for so long is surely the hallmark of a great leader. Another thing I want to emphasize here is he was the one I found who harmonized human voice in the orchestra. No matter how big the orchestra was, no matter how important the players were, the human voice retained its superiority. The human voice was dominant. With all the orchestra, will only support the human voice, will never drown the human voice. SPB can correct me if ever his orchestra drowned the human voice. He would never permit that. To him, human voice is supreme. So this is how he responded to the changes. It is not one piece that he did. He did all the pieces simultaneously. That made a telling impact. You can bring about one change at a time every year. He didn't have the time to do that. He had to bring in all the changes simultaneously. Look at the accomplishment there. Then we go to his practice. What is the foundation of his dominance? How did he dominate this industry for so long? What are the foundations of that? Basically, it's traits and practices. As a leadership, he had shared values, team effort. He would never say that I am the only person who's setting up everything. He would never even say that, look, everything is my creation. Anywhere you go to him, he will only say that it's teamwork, teamwork, teamwork. It is singers who have delivered my music, but for them, where will I be? If my music can be good, but if they don't deliver it, where will it be? So it was team. Drive for excellence and perfection. You would never settle for a compromise. 99% was not good enough. It has to be 10 out of 10. How many times he would say, look, okay, if you have not understood, I will repeat. God knows him. So he was collegial, mixing with people, but everyone knew who was the boss. It was very clear. And it comes to marketing, which is where the whole business really thrives on. You may have good stuff with you, but if you can't market it, then it's no use. Sensitivity to customer needs, which is very important, particularly in a film industry. The customer here could be the producer and with the director. Now, K. Balachandran narrated one incident some years ago when he made Bama Vijayam, the film. He wanted a theme song which reflected the entire storyline. And for that, he said that he had shot 10,000 feet by then. He put the entire 10,000 feet rush to Kannadasan, and I think MSV was also part of it. See, this is what I've shot, this is the movie. Now I want your lyrics and I want the tune. And it came out in a very simple yet very catchy song. Can we have that? What are we at? It's children who are singing this song. That's why the tune is like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. You could see the impact that song made on the listeners. And it's so simple. I mean, only Kannadasan can do it, I guess. Delighting the customer. We always, in business, we say that, look, the customer is always right, he's the ultimate thing, and we must delight the customer. But how often can we, stretch ourselves to do that? And how he did that. I have a video here of P. Shishila narrating an incident. It's a film directed by Sridhar. And a song was, as you know, in Sridhar's movies, the song has to be approved by him. The tune has to be approved by him before it's recorded. So all approved, recorded, and the recording finished at 1 o'clock in the night. And Sridhar came at that time. When he heard the song, he said, no, I don't like this song. I want to change this tune. At 1 o'clock in the night. Normally, how a person would have reacted? He would have said, look, this is a tune you approved. You have done that. You can't ask us to go back to the drawing board again. Or alternatively, say it's 1 o'clock in the night. You've already done one shift. People are tired. Give us some time. We'll do it over the next 2-3 days because I have to think now what exactly you want from me. Because this composition you say is not good enough. But none of it. For MSV, at 1 o'clock if Sridhar is not happy, he has to be made happy before he goes home. Can you see that she's narrating in her own words?
Sridhar sir, 1 மணிக்கு வந்தார் நைட்டு. கேட்டாரு. கேட்டு சொன்னாரு, விசு இது நல்லா இல்லை, இன்னொரு டியூன் போடு. அது விசுன்னு கூப்பிடுவாரு. மன்னிச்சுக்கோங்க. அப்புறம் விசு இன்னொரு சரி ஓகே ரைட் எல்லாமே ஜோசப் வாங்கன்னு சொல்லி உட்காந்துட்டாரு பியானோ கிட்ட. பியானோ நான் பக்கத்துலேயே இருக்கிறேனே, 2 மணிலேருந்து இருக்கிறாங்க. போக போக இன்னும் உஷாராயிட்டேன். 10 மணிக்கு மேலே இன்னும் நல்ல ஷார்ப்பாக ஒரு வாய்ஸ். என்னங்க ராஜேந்திரன் சார், இவர் பக்கத்துலேயே இருப்பார் எப்போ, அவங்க அண்ணா பக்கத்துலேயே. அப்படியே பாடி அப்போ கம்போஸ் பண்ணி சூடா தோசை போட்டு சாப்பிட்ற மாதிரி சூடா போட்டார். வந்தது வந்தது செய்வேன். அப்புறம் அதாச்சா 2-3 மணிக்கு போனேன். இன்னொரு தரம் அப்புறம் தேடினேன் வந்தது.
So you can see that, ultimately Sridhar went home happy that he got a fantastic song. So that is the extent to which he would stretch himself, he would expect his team to stretch themselves, and they did it willingly. Nobody complained. Sushila would have easily said, sorry, at 3 o'clock in the night I'm not going to be singing the song, I'll go home and come tomorrow. No. That was the, hold he had over the people. They never wanted to let him down. None of the team members ever, they felt bad if they let him down, which is again hallmark of a leader. Skillful management of B2B and B2C profile customers. You have to manage the customers in any business. There was one case where he narrated this incident. Was a very challenging assignment for him for many reasons. I won't go into the details of that how many tunes he had to compose and whatnot. But at the end of it, it was a huge success. So one day MGR called him and said, you come home, I've got a box for you, cash. So MSV said, no, I don't need it. I'm fine, I don't need anything. Then he said, then somebody told him that if he's calling, you better go. So he went there. First he was greeted with a all-wear malai, full-length malai. He had all the distributors of that film sitting around there. The distributors are, as you know, a very important part of the B2B customer. And he said, Ivangallan solranga. He never said I said it, I'm saying it. He said, Ivangallan kakranga, adutha padatthukku unakku stock irukana. Do you have stock for your next film? Have you exhausted everything in this? It is, it's a huge compliment paid in a probably left-handed way. So he knew that, look, okay, the distributors are important, and he was very confident that these songs will do well. Of course, SPP will have his views on that. The differentiated products for different situations. He was absolutely remarkable at that. You give him a situation, whether it's come from Sridhar or Balachandra or anybody BMC, he'll be ready with up to the challenge. And here I have 3 audios. One where at least 2 out of the 3 SPP is the main artist. First one was KB narrating a whole story through a mimicry mixed song in Avalodu Thodrugathe.
கடவுள் அமைத்து வைத்த மேடை கிடைக்கும் கல்யாண மாலை இன்னார்க்கு இன்னாரென்று எழுதி வைத்தானே தேவன் அன்று. கடவுள் அமைத்து வைத்த மேடை இன்றைக்கும் கல்யாண மாலை. நான் ஒரு வேடகன், இன்று நான் ஒரு கதை சொல்வேன். ஓங்கிய பெரும் காடு.
It's so difficult to mix a mimicry with the storyline, with the music, and see how seamlessly they merge. There doesn't seem to be, something trying to connect two disconnected parts. So seamlessly smooth. Another example of where ventriloquism and music was combined for our little film against and by SPB. Can we have a bit of that?
மனம் கொண்ட திருமண வாழ்வில் இடையில் நீ ஏன் மயங்குகிறாய்? திருமணம் கொண்ட திருமண வாழ்வில் இடையில் நீ ஏன் மயங்குகிறாய்? இழகிய பெண்மை இருவகை பொம்மை ஏனில் நீயும் ஏங்குகின்றாய். இழகிய பெண்மை இருவகை பொம்மை ஏனில் நீயும் ஏங்குகின்றாய். கரையில் ஆடும் நாடலேடி கரையில் ஆடும் நாடலேடி சரீரம் சொந்தம் தேடுகின்றாய்.
That song had a tremendous impact on the audience. Even today that song is being sung in all the competitions. And how did, I don't know who did that part of it. I think it's Southern or I don't know who did that.
Both by me and Saran.
Southern together. So when he talks about this, I hope he'll talk about some of these productions which are outstanding, unique. And third one was when, at that time My Fair Lady had come some years ago. They had said, look, somebody said we need a song with running like a conversation at the same of music for AVM. So that's how Andanal Yabaham was born. When you are a leader and you have customers right across all the production houses, you will always get charged by saying you are partial towards some banners. You are partial towards AVM banner, or partial towards Vahini banner, or could be partial towards MGR, Shivaji. And how do you manage that kind of a situation? Actually, in fact, I think he treated all customers equally. I would be very surprised because Some of the non-script movies, the songs have been so outstanding. There are movies which have never made the grade, but the songs are outstanding. So obviously, for him, absolute standards were absolute standards, no matter what the banner is, no matter who the actor is. So he insisted on that. And that's what he practiced. He walked the talk. When he'd say, I treat everyone equal, he walked the talk. And human resources was his main armory, weaponry, to execute all the ideas that he had in his mind. So how did he go about that? He attracted the best talent. As you see the music here, with Shyam and others, each one was outstanding in his own department. And there were people who were senior to him before, who came and worked under him. He himself said that, I believe, Nanchappa Reddy was a regular, full-time salary member of a production house. When Viswanathan was, MSP was only an assistant, then he had to call him and then say that, look, will you work with me? And he readily agreed, and he was one of his key persons in the whole scheme of things. Then he challenged the players by raising the bar. I think this is where I would expect SPB to give examples, because
Love is fine, darling, when you're mine. No sun, no shine, like summer rain. Love is fine, darling, when you're mine. No sun, no shine, like summer rain. Without you, dear, life is pain. With you, my darling, all is fine. It's always green as a dream, sweet as green, oh my queen.
And this, passion for embellishment and improvisation. SPB will be the best example, because in every SPB song you will find a huge lot of embellishments and improvisation. And he narrated one case when he composed Nilavai Nidam Nerigade, and he gave it to PBS. PBS was nervous. He said, Vishu, Sangadi, you will do once again, Parliament by Markena. Well, of course, he produced everything, but that is his embellishment. His passion was unabated all the time. He sang that song in our house. Okay, we was playing under this thing, and he put a new song, Sangadi, which was not there in the original recording. So I pointed out, recording, yes, he would never rest. For him, just because a song is recorded and delivered, that's not the end of it. Creative ideas are accepted regardless of source. He never bothered about from where he got the idea, with the credentials of that person. Is he good? Is he knowledgeable? No. If that idea was great, was acceptable, he said, I will take it from any source. There he gave one example. I believe for Rajapat Rangaturai, there was a duet, TMS and Sushila, and they had put 7 tunes on the table they had. And they could not decide, there was no unanimity as to which tune is to be chosen. And then he said, Pinari Yaro and Krillina, Tirumi Patya, Narayana Uttaraka, he had tea, coffee, and the orchestra members, that was his, Mooni early combined body. That's exactly how that song came out. You will find in that song there are two bits coming one after the other. He said there are 3 and the 7th one. Narayan was a tea vendor. He could have easily said, look, come on, you don't have to tell me which one is good or bad. So he didn't have any ego whatsoever. That was the greatness. And that song came out very well. The combination came out very well. Brand equity, brand reach across all age, gender and social groups. 2 weeks ago, I was filling gas at a petrol station in St. Mary's Road. There was a 20-year-old boy who was filling the gas. And he hummed a song. I immediately called him and said, look, the song Parre, the song எப்போ வந்து தெரியுமா உனக்குன்னு? தெரியாது சார். He said, this song came 1962-63. He was singing Sharavana Poige Neeradi. You must have heard in those Pilliyar Chaturthi, you must have played Sushila song, because this song is played in all those religious occasions. And that song has penetrated him. He was not even born at that time. And he hums that song when he at work. Nobody asked him to sing that song. That is excellent. Another case of brand recall I can give is in my own son's case. Like me, he's not that much into film music. He was in Mexico working for an international company. So I went there for a holiday. And he knows my interest in world music. So as soon as I landed, he said, Appa, I got some old song. It is too good, but I don't know who's the music director. I can only recognize SPB's voice. It's a female voice, I don't know it, but listen to this song, it's a great song. You know what song he played? Elakkanam Marudo. And he was born at the time when the song came. 30 years later, he listens to that song and then says, look, hey, it's a song you should not miss. That is the kind of a brand reach he had. Recently, one of my relatives, with the Navaratri celebrations, an entire Golu was an MSV theme. I asked many people to go and see her. She had worked so hard that all the Bombay, the background were all set to certain songs. The songs are also played, and there are almost 30 plus songs. The whole thing was only an MSV. And she was just a homemaker. She never had any pretensions to being in the film industry. No. That was the impact he had on that. That is why I always say that, over 3 generations, his brand value was sustained. In summing up, insatiable appetite for new ideas and improvisation, professional integrity, work ethic, inspirational leadership that attract and retain best talent, customers first choice, high brand equity, establish a platform for succeeding generations to excel. His was a gold standard in music. How to have a preliminary music before a Pallavi, what's the music between the Pallavi and Anupallavi, what's the music between Anupallavi and Charanam, what different music you can have between one Charanam and another Charanam. You don't have to go anywhere. If you go to his songs, you will find everything that you need as a gold standard. And that was a platform succeeding generations have been using to excel. They can build their own, of course, this thing. But I think these are all the hallmarks of MSV's exceptional leadership in music. Now I leave the floor to